So some of y'all definitely need some more practice with the literal equations. So that's what we're going to work with today. Solve that for A. What we need to do is we need to look at the variable that we're trying to solve for and what sort of math is being done to that variable. Addition. There is only addition being done, so that means we got to do the opposite to solve it. We subtract b, it cancels just like a regular equation does. So I got a equals c minus b. The one thing tricky choices, a equals c minus b is our answer. They could have a equals b minus c. Equation, whatever it was equal to is what comes first. Okay? So since it was equal to c, we subtracted b from that c, so it's c minus b. Everybody clear on that? All right, so same type idea. I got a. Math being done to it is subtraction. So we're just doing the opposite. So I got a minus b equals c. We add b this time. So we got a equals c plus b. If we're working, I'd probably put the c first anyhow, just because that's what it's equal to. That's the order you need for subtraction. For addition, though, order doesn't matter, so they could possibly be flipped. All right, so now we got our a. It is right next to b. So what type of math is being done to the a? Multiplication. So if I got a times b equals c, we divide. There's multiple. The other reason is for stuff like this, it is also much easier to see how it should look. It's c over b, so we'd have a equals c over b. For c, might be one of the answer choices, not the same thing. Division. So we get rid of division by multiplying. Those cancel. Now, I could be wrong, but I feel like they would put this alphabetically. But therefore, look at this. That is a positive a. And it's like we got a negative 1b. So if you think of that as two steps, if you think of that as just subtraction and you try to add the a, we need to do opposite. So one of the mistakes I saw with some of these the other day was people would go and subtract a. We did okay with that part. So on the right side, we'd have c minus a. and then we were just putting B. Minus, so we need to think of that like a -1 or a -1 there. If we divide by a negative, what we're doing essentially is changing the sign. And we can just go ahead and basically change the sign on each part as we divide by that 1. So we would have -C plus A, or that could be A minus C, depending on how you want to order that. Any questions? All right, so here's another way you could look at that too, though. If I have A minus B equals C, I'm trying to solve for B. Since I got that minus B, I could add B to each side first. All it's doing is it's moving the B from the other one side to the other, but it's making it positive. So if I do that, then I would have C plus B. So now I got my positive B. I subtract C. Whoops. Subtract C. So I'm going to have A minus C equals B, which is what we have to change the signs. I kind of follow. It works. You need to make sure you're thinking that B is having a -1. If B is on the bottom, we got two options. Option 1, we can flip both sides. If I flip both sides, I would have B over A equals 1 over C. Everybody okay with that step? Then I would just multiply by A. So I multiply by A, those cancel. So I got B equals, any multiplication goes on top. So we got B equals A divided by C. So that's one option, okay? The other option, if I've got A over B equals C, I can multiply both sides by B first. Cancels the B's. So I got A equals CB. Then I'm trying to get B by itself, so I divide by C. And you can see I got the exact same thing, which, if you do an equation correctly, you should get the same thing every time. This is easier. All right, so if we're solving for A, we're going to subtract C from each side first. We get rid of addition or subtraction. So I've got A, B equals D minus C. Then when we're dividing, division comes next, or multiplication or division. We divide by B. The whole thing gets divided by B. Both parts. All right, so that's why I had Ford hold up his answer, was to make sure the way he said it, he didn't just have C over B. It'd be the whole thing over B. Okay? So we got A equals D minus C over B. Another way they sometimes, not too often, but occasionally do it is they will break it into two pieces. So you can, like I said, that doesn't happen too frequently. Usually they'll leave it as the D minus C. Any questions on that? I'll give you a little hint. There are two types of math being done to A. Multiplication and addition. Now, in this case, you got to do things a little differently. The addition's being done in parentheses. When you solve an equation, you do order of operations backwards, so the parentheses gets done last. All right, so saw a few different answers. Nothing exactly the way we would want it to look, okay? So I said we got multiplication, we got addition being done to the A. Since the addition's in parentheses, we're going to save that part for last, okay? So if we get rid of this multiplication, I'm going to do it in two pieces, okay? The problem some of y'all were having was the fraction. So I'm going to divide by C first. So that means I would have 3/4 A plus B equals D over C. I think everybody was okay with that part. Everybody good there? So now, if we divide by a fraction, if I have D over C divided by 3/4, which is basically what I'm going to end up doing. Okay, I'm divide by my coefficient here, or the number out in front of the parentheses. And when we have that, when you divide by a fraction, you do keep, change it to multiplication, flip. So what that means is when I divide by that 3/4, that 3/4 is going to cancel out on that side, and I got to do keep, change, flip with it on the other side. So I'm going to have A plus B equals 4D over 3C. Anytime you're moving a fraction, basically what ends up happening is you're flipping a fraction. Whatever was the denominator becomes the numerator. Whatever was the numerator becomes the denominator. And that's how we would write that without having a fraction to it. We all had D over C, or over 3/4 C. And that's exactly wrong. Like I was saying, you're dividing by not how that would be written. D equals 4D over minus